This is Sister Talk after the live show. So it's so much to talk about. We couldn't leave. So we have Anaya, we have Nicole, and we have Cynthia. So I have a list of things. So we're going to kind of go through and figure out what we want to talk about. So we got a few minutes to do that. Okay. So first thing that I had on my list was the young lady in Atlanta. She's a student at Clark, or was a student at Clark and Atlanta. What was it called? Clark University?
Clark Atlanta University.
Clark Atlanta University.
Baby.
Yes,
I used to live down the street. Yeah.
Right.
What happened?
So she went missing on the day before Halloween. And I found out about it about a week after she went missing. And so a couple days later, they found her dead. So what happened was her roommate and the roommate's boyfriend were arrested for her murder.
Yeah.
Right? And so what happened was, the story is, they don't know the motive exactly, but they said that this young lady, Alexis Crawford, filed a complaint with the police that she was sexually assaulted by the boyfriend.
Jesus, Lord.
So I think that is what happened, but that was the motive, that they didn't want her.
By the roommate's boyfriend.
By the roommate's boyfriend. So it wasn't like a rape, but he inappropriately kissed her. They had been drinking and fondling, touching her, and she didn't want it. So she filed a complaint with
which
the police.
she should have.
She should have.
Yeah.
But what? Come on now.
So we're living in a really dangerous society. I was just sharing this with somebody, I think my husband, like literally how if a man approaches you on the street nowadays, right, and you kind of tell them, you know, I'm not interested, sometimes you may end up dead. Because they literally have this thing, like this possessive, jealous, crazy, I don't give a damn about your life scenario happening in their head, where they'll attack you because you've rejected them.
I don't think that's current.
That's probably been right.
Around.
Well, I mean, I haven't been around too long to know all, you know, but I've been hearing more cases.
Let me say this. When
crazy.
I was a teenager, the thing that we used to get angry about is that if you rejected a guy on the street, his refrain was F-U-B.
Right.
Right, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well.
Okay, I mean, that's what they would say. Yeah. So, you know, what's going on though? I mean, I just still don't understand this.
It's unfortunate that, sorry, that's not even the right word. It's tragic that she went through the proper channels.
Yeah.
And on a college campus, she was not able to get the kind of, I mean, I don't know how they would
protection.
work this. I used to teach at Howard. I don't know how Clark Atlanta does it, but that she didn't get protection, that she couldn't be safe in her dorm on her campus. And now we see allegedly, right, the tragic results of a young woman being
with an S. Yes. But Nicole used the word. She said results.
Yeah.
Tragic results, because you know, like what's going on with our young men and what's going on with men, right, and women. Yeah. Right. What's going on? That's what Marvin Gaye said.
Like your accomplice with this. Like what's going on in your head?
Because at first, when you first started, I thought you were going to say, because the first thing comes up to my mind is like, well, what about your friends? You didn't tell your friends where you were going or something of that nature.
They were with her.
They were with her.
I think they lured her out to go to the liquor store.
This is ridiculous.
And once they got her out there, then they, committed their crime.
Not the way.
We all worked in situations, especially when you work in education and you work with young people. There is no anger management mechanism. Yes. We are not sending our young people to therapy when they're in a public school situation and they have and they are dealing with their own traumas. I'm not saying that this and that. I don't know his history, but we see it all the time in the classroom. 17-year-olds who don't know how to channel, funnel, handle their anger, their issues, their emotions, what
when mental health is not addressed is exactly what she's and it's not. Then that person grows up to be old, an older individual, like the case that's in Harlem, on 125th Street, 21st Street. The dad said that so she met him. They met when they were at Columbia University and they got married. Dad said that she called him on Sunday and was in tears and said, I have to get another order of protection out against him because he said either he will ruin my life or kill me if I go through with this divorce. They said that the relationship went awry once she had the baby, right? Okay. So the little girl was 5 years old.
Right. So beautiful little girl.
So she couldn't go to the court because it was closed on election day.
Election day, right.
Her brother called for a wellness check.
Yes.
And when they got in there, her head was decapitated and he set it in her lap. He didn't fully decapitate the little girl, but her head was dangling, and he hung himself. Right. We're talking about mental illness that is not addressed and is screaming to be addressed.
Well, one of the things that happened in the last show, a woman called and she was talking about the post-traumatic stress, but it is post-traumatic slave disorder in my mind. Because remember, too, again, I'm the controversial one.
That's okay.
We are suffering from history and generations of abuse to begin with. It's tragic that we've never been able to express ourselves in such a format and in a way that it would be okay for us to express when we're angry, right? What's the first thing that happens when a little black child is expressing anger in school?
They call the police. Call the police.
Call the police. The little kids are getting arrested. So what's happening is we have a literal generational curse that's going from generation to generation.
But let me interrupt you for one quick second. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the people in this story are not African American.
No, he is.
The wife is African. The wife is white.
Okay, and the husband is from Ethiopia.
Exactly. They never put his picture out, and I think it was for whatever reason.
No, I see it now.
Because my friend actually put it out, and I sent it to my other friend who happened to be neighbors with him, and that's how that.
No, I have individuals who asked off the cuff,
like
he's
what
African.
He's
off the cuff.
Wow.
It was like, he's African.
Right.
I thought he was going to be a white.
So you're saying that there's some kind of
off the cuff.
stereotype
And
with
I didn't
African men?
ask them like, how do you?
Maybe
what made you say that?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know they specifically said he's from Ethiopia.
But
culturally.
I would say that different cultures, not any particular type of culture, but many different cultures they don't believe in
mental health,
right? Especially, and so we have here a horrific situation where he was going through it. He was going through it. Lord knows what.
And then can I say this too? Yeah. Not only do we have issues with mental health and things of that nature, but there's no regard for human life anymore. Period.
Yes, I would have to agree with that.
So now we also have a new trend with these children that are getting kidnapped, and not just children, adults. So when I first heard about the Clark Atlanta situation, I thought they were going to sell that girl's organs off the black market because that's what's happening now, and it's so like nothing is phasing us anymore, right? And so I just was like, I'll pray.
With information.
Exactly. Yes. I was like, I'm going to say a prayer for this young lady, but then to hear the flip side that it was the relationship with the roommate and the boyfriend, that took me to a whole nother thing. And then with Clark Atlanta, because you were talking about Howard, I think they have similar campuses where it's so open. Downtown Atlanta, where this school is, I know because I lived right around the corner, is so vast and so open that even if it wasn't them, let's say they don't know exactly and they're pinning the story on these two, that area is like, it could have been anybody that did that.
But in addition to that, we're talking about communication. We're talking about how children of today communicate, because there was another case, maybe either last year or the year before last, where a group of girls went to go party at a hotel, and then the little girl was found in the freezer. She was found in the freezer. So wait, what happened to? We go together, we come back together, right? Oh, we didn't realize that she wasn't with us. How does that go down?
Well, there are lots of holes, right?
There's a lot of holes in that. But here's the thing with you letting someone know where you're going, what is going on. You know?
Well, I mean, when I was in college, we had a pact.
Right.
There was always 4, 5, 6 of us who hung out together, and we had a friend who didn't drink, but we rotated the person who didn't drink, so that it wasn't always on her. It wasn't always on Sharon.
Right.
So we always had one person who didn't drink and corral the rest of us. And we all realized that the responsibility shouldn't just be on one person. We were all very cognizant of what we were of what we were doing.
Yes.
And then on many a night I escorted a friend up a hill, down a hill, blah, blah, blah. But we always, like there was never a moment where somebody went missing.
Right, exactly.
Because
we had, and I mean, we're probably in like different age groups, but even in my age group, you're all beautiful seasons. You know what I mean? But, even like a few years ago, let's say, right? It still was the same. But I don't know what happened to this gap right now that we're in, this generation.
I think there's a disconnect with us. I heard Reverend Al Sharpton talking about it this morning, where you're talking to, he said, I go to the elders, I sit with elders. And so elders, now we have to go to the children.
Yes.
And we have to sit with them and we have to let them know, listen, sunshine, everyone should go together and come back together. There's no such thing as you're going off somewhere else, you know? So, you know, we have to like fill in that gap.
Yeah, education, I don't know, there's this constant reinforcement that you have to have with children, young adults, you know what I mean? It just seemed like there's just, I don't know, say mental health or
and
what.
just to go back to your original point, violence on campuses has not been properly dealt with across the country by most schools.
Right.
And so I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, whatever it is. Correct. If you have a complaint, if you have had someone act aggressively towards you in a way that scares you, that needs to be dealt with in a concrete way, right?
Totally.
So that some young woman isn't sleeping at night in fear, or not sleeping at night in fear that she's going to, or he, it could be anybody, that he's going to be assaulted.
Right. So what Nicole reminded me of is like the addressing of things that needs to be addressed. So like, so we're talking about mental illness that is not addressed, right? And so in the case of Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., right? The police officers knew that he had a mental disability. They knew that he was a victim of a person who was in the wars and had PTSD. They knew that, and they still went in there and they still murdered him.
The same thing happened to Diallo, Abdullah Diallo.
Yes.
50 gunshots later. Again, back to my original thought, and I mean, I feel bad about saying this, but we have no regard for life anymore. I'm like, it just like breaks my heart. Like, how is it that people can just get killed every day? Like a lot, like not even just a little, a lot.
Let me jump in and say this, because the last little topic before we wrap up, we had like 2 or 3 minutes when he came. But talking about mental health, this whole Popeye's chicken sandwich thing, and somebody just got stabbed to death because somebody jumped the line, and what I mean, it's just okay. Let's finish out. Last thoughts on mental health.
If we don't teach people, young people, how to deal with anger management, you can't just pull out a knife and stab somebody because you're mad. That's just
that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, right?
But it happens
every day.
All the time.
Right.
I remember Cynthia's face when she heard the last topic we were going to discuss about, and her face didn't move much. She was like, "Wait, what?" That's like her face right now. I love you.
I really do not comprehend.
Over a chicken sandwich.
You walk in and that is the end result, where he went to go get something to eat.
But you know,
or you're protecting your body. You don't want to be touched inappropriately, and you lose your life for that.
Or even the craziest one I heard recently, this young lady, I don't know if they had this external beef outside of the platform that they were on, waiting for a train in Brooklyn. I don't know if you guys heard that one. This woman comes to stab this young lady, but the young lady knew how to fight and the other one didn't. The one that was, and then she takes the knife out of her hand and kills her, but she got off because that's self-defense. But what makes you come to a platform where there's trains coming and you try to
Well, that's where we're falling into the whole of mental distress, emotional distress, where
coping
skills. People live in worlds that the outsider doesn't understand. And so if they don't get addressed, then
we keep
have
having
major
these
issues
kind of
that blow up, and it's not just folks who are poor.
It's
not just folks who live
all over.
It's everybody.
That's right.
Okay.
And so we see that with.
We're at the end of the show. We're at the end of the show.
I was going to say, can I invite you all to come to my book signing on
one more time,
the 15th,
give the information.
because I would like for us to maybe have a little talk while we're there about mental health issues. So November 15th from 6 to 9 p.m.
6 to 9.
And that's going to be at 215 West 125th Street on the 4th floor. Anaya A is my name. A Woman's Intuition is the name of the book. But that intuition,
good luck with it.
Thank you. I hope you guys can make it, because that intuition that we all should have, that seems to be dissipating like into nothingness because we don't have that gut feeling anymore that, hey, this is wrong. Maybe we shouldn't be doing it. So I would love for you all to come and maybe share on the 15th.
On that note, you were just witnessing Sister Talk after the live show. Thank you so much for being with you. And take care. Bye-bye.
When you need someone who understands, I know what you're missing. Sister Talk. No matter what you're going through, don't worry, I ain't going nowhere. Sister Talk. If you ever feel alone, say the word, I'll be right there. Sister Talk. Sister, 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 sister talk, sister, sister, sister.